Now, think about monopolists and profit maximization. Profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. And firms maximize profit by producing the quantity of output where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Remember, this is true for all firms. All firms maximize profit where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Okay? The distinction between perfectly competitive firms and monopolists is that for a perfectly competitive firm, price and marginal revenue are the same. For a monopolist, price is higher than marginal revenue. Okay? So here's on a graph how monopolists maximize profits. Right? We have a demand curve, downward sloping like we saw in the previous diagram, and a marginal revenue curve, which sits lower. Right? The price that a firm is able to charge for a particular quantity is higher than its marginal revenue. Okay? So profit maximization, find where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. Produce that quantity and charge as much as you can for it. Right? If we produce this quantity, consumers are willing to pay this price P star for it. Okay. Now, why is this the profit maximizing price? This is worthy of reviewing. What it says here is that if we produce, say, Q star plus 1, if I want to produce one more unit, it adds this much to my cash registers in additional revenue. It costs me this much to produce. Right? So this Q plus 1 unit costs me more to produce than I wind up adding to my cash registers. In other words, this extra unit is going to reduce my profits. Okay. This graph adds one more line to the previous diagram, and what it adds is the average total costs of this firm's production. So this black line here represents the average total cost of production. And we can represent the profits of this monopolist graphically. Right? The firm is producing Q star, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. It's charging P star. Right? And its profits are represented by this rectangle here. Right? The rectangle here, the height of the rectangle is the difference between the price they charge for each unit, the cost of producing each unit, so this is how much more they're able to sell each unit than it costs to make on average, times how many units they sell. Right? And you can see graphically, or you can see in algebra, what we're showing graphically in this diagram. Right? Note that the height of the rectangle is price minus average total cost. The width of the rectangle is Q. Height times width is the same as our formula here for what we see in profits. Okay, so the monopolist here can earn positive profits, right? We see here that this box has a positive area. Their profits are positive. Note that in competitive markets, what we would expect is that new firms would come in. In a perfectly competitive market, firms will enter into the market and compete vigorously with this firm until those profits are driven away. Right? But we talked earlier that monopolies exist when there are entry barriers present, something to stop new firms from competing away these profits. And so monopolists can earn profits over the long run.